Okay.
Hi, welcome to Great Goodness. I'm so glad you're watching this episode today. I'm so excited. We had to stop talking and start recording because SE has brought just some amazing things to talk about today and to share. She's brought
Yeah.
amazing goodness to share. And so when you're watching, if you're having thoughts, you're having responses, like put it in the comments. And I love that one of the things that SE is going to share is a poem in response to another episode with Louisa and Gloria. And like if you have something like that to share, we want to see it. Like, cause I mean,
Yeah.
I'm beyond excited. Okay. So like and comment and subscribe and do all those things to share the love. Oh, and I'm here today with my great partner, Karen Stewart,
Hello.
and our gifted, talented guest, SE Harsha.
Hello.
Yay.
Yay.
I can't
Yay.
wait. All right, Karen. Well, this is gonna be a card. I cannot wait to see what this card is.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh,
I'm
I'm going to
nervous.
introduce. Oh, no, I do the card first. Okay. So we're going to do the card part first, which is always what we do. And somehow it's always a surprise to me. So because that's how I roll. So today we are going to pull a card from the
Mm.
Enchanted Map Oracle deck, which I love, love, love this deck. This is published by Hay House, so y'all can get yourselves your own deck. The author is Colette Baron Reed, and the illustrator is Gina Della Grataglia. And I think I did pronounce that correctly this time. I'm
You
feeling
did
good about that.
beautifully. That was a beautiful pronunciation. You are
Oh,
getting
thank you
better.
so
So,
much.
yeah.
I can improve. I improve with age, maybe. I don't know. So I've shuffled the heck out of these cards already. So we're going to pull one card and we are not asking any questions. I mean, you can ask your own question at home if you want to, but what we're doing is we're just going to pull a card and just see what kind of energy we feel from it and discuss it a little bit. And that's what we're going to do. And I'll show you, this is what the back of the deck looks like.
Oh.
Is that gorgeous? Right? Are those, what are those markings? Is it numbers? I believe, okay, now I have to take it away from me. Oh, it appears to be, oh, yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. Astrological signs all the way around the discs. Yes, Cool. right. How
Yeah,
appropriate.
yeah,
Yes. All right, so that's the back side of the deck. So I'm going to turn it around. Let's see what our card is for today. Okay, I'll show it to y'all at the top. Oh,
Ooh,
this gal. Oh
she
my
came
goodness.
back
She came back to us.
into the unknown.
Okay, so I'm going to try to get these. Oh, there, I got the glare off of it, didn't I? Card number 7, into the unknown. This gal has some messages for us. Is she
Oh,
And see,
yeah.
blindfolded? Yes, she is. This is the second time she has shown up for a Great Goodness episode.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
Is she the
yeah.
key? Is that a key?
All right.
Like,
I'm going to look at it real quickly. And so then maybe I can answer the questions. Okay, I'll just narrate a little bit of what's on here. So there is a scroll at her feet that says Into the Unknown. She has, oh goodness. Okay, she has in her left hand, a key, a
okay.
golden key with wings on golden wings, and a long chain. And at the bottom of the chain, there is like a glowing crystal orb and there are little red hearts floating around her, and there's a little bird on the rail next to her. And let me get her back up there so y'all can look at her. How's the
So
glare on?
I feel like intuition and trusting intuition is part of this card because
I
the
think so.
key with the wings and the bird, so the like a guide and the blindfold and even the into the unknown and like the lifting of the veils. Um,
Is her
Mhm.
skirt a flame, or is it what
Her
is it scroll?
skirt,
Is it scroll?
her skirt is it's kind of pinned up a little bit in the front, and there is some light
Mm,
in that area that is sort of revealed there. Some yellow light.
cool.
I
She
like that
must be
she's like up high
Yeah,
and
I
her
was gonna
back is
say.
against a rail, but she seems totally calm and she seems like she is in control, even though she's blindfolded.
Mhm,
She's got this.
She
Like
has
I think she's
peace.
embracing she is welcoming the unknown.
for sure. I was gonna say she's way up in the sky. She doesn't seem scared.
Yeah,
Like she trusts. She has to
Mhm.
trust in herself
right.
and her intuition and what she knows, so that even the unknown is not, oh, I needed this card today. Okay.
Right. Yes. And
Yeah.
the red drapery, we talked about this last time this gal showed up. Um, I love that it's pulled to the side so there's even more openness behind her.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, so in mediumship, we talk about the other side of the veil, so but the spirit world, you are communicating with beings, with spirits on the other side of the world. I mean, the other side of the veil. And then in like psychic work, you it's a lifting of the veil,
Mm,
because you can really see, and you're not seeing with your eyes. That's not what you see with.
mm,
Even in mediumship, when you see, like when you have like objective clairvoyance and you can see the images, you can see like a film strip, or you can see, yeah, it's like a movie or a photograph. It's still, you're really not seeing with your eyes. Do you know what I
you're
mean?
seeing with your knowing. Is that
Yes,
right? Like you
yes, 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 yes.
see it with your knowing.
Hmm.
Well, that's
Yeah,
kind of groovy. I
yeah.
should
I
write that
love this
down.
card.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Um,
right. So into
Good
the
Yeah, and
luck.
unknown, y'all.
I think in certain times it's harder to trust when things are noisy, you know.
Yes, yes, very much so. And
Yes.
I think it's interesting you said that. One of the things when so this is particularly used in mediumship, but I think it works for everything. Um, it's called sitting in the power. Have y'all ever heard of that?
Ooh, no, but
Okay.
I like it.
You can find meditations on it and stuff on YouTube, just looking up sitting in the power. But it's really rooting into the earth and connecting up to source. And it's this area, the rib cage almost, that you imagine. You can breathe into it and you can feel it expanding, like
Mm,
sometimes a golden light, but you can feel your energy expand beyond you, beyond you, beyond, I mean, until it's just enormous. And that rooting and that grounding, that quiets, like what you're saying, Essie, like it quiets that, and then you can get clarity, because it is
mm.
it is that noise, that chaos that blinds us.
Mhm. She looks like
Absolutely.
she's in a position to be doing that, doesn't she? Like she is just open to
Yeah.
letting it
Yeah.
in.
I love this card. We could keep talking about it, but we better not.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about Essie.
Okay, I get to read. I'm so excited to have you here. This is just
Excited
wonderful.
to. Thank you.
All right. So here's some juicy bits of info. SE Harsha is a writer, artist, musician, and instructional designer living and dreaming on Flying Fox Farm in coastal North Carolina. She's the founder of Press Pause Press, a literary magazine and nonprofit working to offer workshops and retreats on the farm for writers and artists seeking a quiet, inspiring place to pause, dream, and create. A UNC-Wilmington MFA graduate, her work appears in Carve Magazine, the Adirondack Review, Hobart Pulp, and others. She's currently at work on a gothic horror novel that explores motherhood, mental health, and the sometimes heavy weight of boundless love. Oh
What?
my great goodness. I'm so excited that you're here with us.
Sometimes heavy weight
Um,
of boundless love.
Great.
Oh, I got chills again. Like, I love that. It's very well articulated. Okay, now, so I stumbled across Press Pause Press, and I was like, what is this gem? And I mean, I spent a lot of time going through it because it's so many things. there's so much happening with Press Pause Press. I mean, there's an annual book prize contest. That's done annually because it's
We just
going on
started
right
last year.
now.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there is the retreat, but then all these there's the
Layers.
family room that has
Yes.
all the different ways of sharing, and they're just honestly, I've never seen anything like it. Like, it was so
It's so cool.
yeah, so
Thank
this is why, yeah, I was like, this person has to come share about this. Like
you.
we need to know more about how it came to be, what it is, what your vision is. Like we want to hear all about it. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the Press Prize, the beautiful Pause Prize?
Sure. So that's our most recent thing that we are embracing is a annual contest we started last year. We really wanted to amplify the press part, like the second press of our name, right? The idea was to eventually become a press, so this is our first foray into doing that. But I can start back as well with its beginnings. So when I was in my master's program in Marquette, Michigan, studying writing and pedagogy, I was feeling a little bit like the authenticity of art, the way that you can experience it quietly and how it can transcend was a little bit in danger with how
Mm,
much we're focusing on using social media to share, but also brand a little bit. I do
yeah.
so press pause if you don't know, started as no social media. And we continue to not use social media. That doesn't mean that our contributors don't share on social media. We just don't have a social media, which is a conscious choice. Because we don't want to be subject to trends or
Mhm.
anything that might affect the like honesty of what we're publishing. Not to say that social media is not a great
Yeah.
thing or art
Mhm.
as well in so many ways.
Essie, wait,
Yeah.
I want you to say that again.
Angela's gonna bust.
Because that's beautiful. It's so
Yeah.
true. We don't want to affect the honesty. Can you say that
Yeah.
again? Okay.
So we we chose not to have a social media because we wanted to have a quiet space online. And I really do believe that humans can come together and create online spaces that are not subject to branding or trend or clickbait or anything like that,
Yeah.
ads, or the desire, like the human desire to align can
Mhm.
sometimes, I was kind of seeing art being kind of siloed into a certain style, people. I was on a magazine editorial team as a volunteer, and a judge was passed over for a contest because they didn't have a very high following on Twitter,
Mm,
um, or formerly Twitter. And I was just kind of getting these small pangs of like, wait, where's the art? Where's the reason why we share art in that, right? And
Yes.
so I think, I started talking about in my master's program there. Um, and that was, I think, a few years before I started Press Pause, that maybe there should be a magazine that just does it on purpose to not have social media. And what a case study for our um, current global stance we have is, can we start something like that is vibrant and that publishes really honest, authentic art without
yeah.
social media right now? Will people care? Will people like it? Will people, how will they respond to that? And I really honestly, when I started, it was like a poster that I printed out when I was at Wilmington. Um, and I think I did like three Craigslist ads because we do use the internet. We have a website.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't use social media to get contributors. And it started with a very small group of people, our first volume, and now 7 or 8 years later, we're getting um, submissions from India and Iran and the Ukraine. It's just sort of been very, very humbling and lovely to see it spread. And then, you said you stumbled on it. Most people stumble on it, which is
Yeah,
in
I
this day,
did too.
yeah, in this day and age, it's a nice feeling to stumble on something,
It's
right?
so
Like,
real. Like
Yes.
it's meant to be. Like when I came to your site, I was like, what? No social. I love it so much because it feels like we're doing a thing that's a real thing and it's not about advertising. And I think as a poet, I just felt like, okay, I love what you're doing because I feel like these are people that are looking for art that speaks to their heart and
Hmm.
not somebody that's got credentials that, oh, this will be an automatic 50
right.
people because they're on the board of such and such. And I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then one of the tenets that we have, like that's adjacent to the no social media, and the reason why we chose not to have social media is we don't want to be gatekeepers, right? A lot,
Hmm.
we're all artists and writers. We know that feeling of like, prove to us your talent or worth to be
Mhm.
heard and have a voice. And I think, that there's places for that. We do want to, bring talent to the surface, but I think the fallacy there is to assume not everybody has it, right? To
Yes.
assume
Yeah.
that not everybody is an artist, and everybody is if you give them a platform. You know what I mean? And I don't mean platform in the tech term,
Well,
but like, a
Right.
space to
yeah.
share, and a space it's not about your popularity, it's not about anything but what you have to say. And I
Mhm.
think that's why it's resonating with people, because that's what I mean. People, especially now, they want to share on their own terms and they want to be heard on their own terms. And goes kind of back to the card that we saw, because she's in this sort of, unknown, sort of like press pause is a little bit in this sort of doing this unknown thing, and we don't always know our reach and we don't always know exactly what's going on out there in the ether. But we're always here as a place to share what's in people's hearts. That's what we ask for, is whatever's in your heart.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and it's an honor for sure.
I can
So
tell that too with the areas in the family room too, because they're so well carved out. Like there's currently
Mhm.
um and the great pause and pause cards and press play and like the midnight snack. And so
Mhm.
there's all these different areas like to be heard. Like so it's really like
Yeah.
everyone has a place. Like
mhm.
everyone has a space. Now, I do want to go back to something you said, and I don't know if you'll have more to say on it, but I thought it was really interesting that everyone is an artist. They they just everyone just needs that space, and maybe you need to find your medium, and you need that space or that encouragement. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this, but I think that eh, I had this friend who never had a chance to even explore that just because of how she was raised, right? And my husband's a pianist, and she really wanted to learn how to play piano. And this isn't the first time I started thinking about this concept of like everybody has it in them, but it was a really stark example of that. She started with her hands very stiff, you know,
Yeah.
could see the years of either being told she doesn't have it, or sort of the societal's like, some people are artists and some people aren't, some people have it and some
Right.
people don't. And I think some artist communities also kind of hold on to that because it's nice to feel unique, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I just don't think that's true. I think that if you give um people the space, you give them tools. If everyone grew up with acrylic paints around
Yeah.
them, it's not, you've heard people are like,
Yes.
I'm not creative.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
a lot of people think that. And I think and sometimes it's not even because they've been told. I think a lot of people think that an artist is somebody that's hanging in a museum. That's art.
Mhm.
But what I do isn't art. But which isn't true. I mean, the art is that every piece of art was created the way it was by the only person that could create it that way. So
Exactly.
everybody is an artist.
And
Yeah.
and I'm gonna bring astrology into this. And so
Really?
um and so there's a house of creative expression. And then there's also a house directly across from that, opposite that is who we share it with. And it's really interesting because you can see like Chiron wounds where there was a smushing, I call it a smushing of creative expression or self-expression. You can see where there isn't there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for groups to share it with. Like you can see these things in the
In
chart.
people's like in a birth chart, like that
Hmm.
part you can look at and
Yeah.
go, oh,
Janis
this is
Joplin's
an energy. Oh,
Oh,
Janis
really?
Joplin's chart. So, if you know anything about Janis Joplin, like, was she a star? Yes. But did she struggle to be heard? Did she struggle to be? Yes. It was, oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you two things. This is not her whole story. It's not her whole natal promise or all her transits, but I'll tell you two things. Number one, Pluto was transiting her seventh house from the time she was 13 to the time she passed away. That is a tough transit for getting along.
so
And
what's
especially
the seventh house? What is that?
that's relationships with others. Like that's
Oh, okay.
one-to-one relationship. So that's being in a band with someone, manager, like romantic partner, close friend, but like any kind of thing like that. But it's also known adversaries. And anyway, she had a difficult time getting
Mm,
along. But here's the other thing. There's so many other things. I will stick to one. Chiron is in Leo and is in her seventh house. Leo rules the house of self-expression,
Mm.
creative expression. So, and if you read any of her biographies, and I've read them all, they are that was really it was debilitated for her early on. And she was so creative. She wasn't she was a singer, a painter, a writer, like and and anyway, so some of the stuff we come onto this earth, into this body, and it's already in those charts, and it's things for us to work through,
mm,
and to have opportunities like press, pause, press that make that possible. To have someone like you who says to a friend, "Well, of course you can be a pianist." Like
yeah.
it's just learning to play. Or Kathy Haley, I mean, the way she teaches, Corey Holmes, the way she leads theater students, like, oh my gosh.
Making a space for people to
Yes. And we can heal those
honor
wounds we came
themselves.
in to
Yeah.
heal. Yes. Anyway, okay. I hijacked it.
And the most beautiful art is the honest stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and I love that y'all are doing that. I love that you do that because I feel that. I feel like so many times we're trying to figure out like when we send our stuff in, like, well, what's going to resonate? If I say I'm Appalachian, like, is that going to catch, And I'm like, I don't even want to say that I live in Appalachia because I don't want that to be the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right. I know, exactly.
and so I was like sharing that I was neurodivergent. And then I was like, wait, am I sharing this? Hope like branding myself? Because
Yeah.
yeah,
Hoping there's a box for that.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
I could go there.
It's interesting that you talk about that because that's one of the reasons Press Pause also does the things that it does is that not to say that we don't want to celebrate our differences. Obviously, we do. And we want to publish and share a variety of people and experiences. But even that question, like, should I share this to fit into a box? seems counterproductive to art to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
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 Let's let art speak for itself. Let's assume everyone can do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And help people find that way to their art, into the unknown.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, do you want to share last year's winner of the
sure. I would
okay.
love to. So, I have it with me.
A handful of earth?
A Handful of Earth,
Oh,
by, oh, sorry, I have a blur, by Jesse Curran.
oh,
Okay.
Um,
Oh, I see.
so yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it came to us through the fiction prize, and it came as a sort of long prose fiction poem. And
oh,
it's beautiful. It's about a woman named Claire who discovers that she has cancer. And she's been healthy her whole life, trying, so hard to be healthy. And she decides to leave her husband and go to Italy, a place that she loves a lot, and went and studied at in college. And she's gonna have a final summer and then kill herself. So it goes through her old friends and her old sexual relationships, and she loves to paint, and it's this very like internal experience of saying goodbye to the earth. And then one of the other things that it is an eco lament. It's about,
Mm.
where we are in how we've treated our earth, and she connects that to Claire's body, right? So it's this
mm,
sort of very visceral experience reading the book. And we had a lot of great submissions, and I want Press Pause to publish things it can help bring into the world. And we just saw
mm.
her vision, and we wanted to collaborate with her on making it into what it is. And we also, one of our former contributors did the art for it, so we commissioned
Uh,
her. It's very beautiful.
hmm
It, let me see if I can find one of the. So there's wine and sun,
Oh,
and it's kind of sexy and it's beautiful, and it's written originally as a long prose poem with a
wow.
character, and we turned it into more of a fictional story, just with format and working with her. But yeah, I'm very proud of it. And this year we're doing poetry. Next year we're doing nonfiction, and then we're going to start back with fiction again. So it's going to be an annual contest, and we're hoping it grows our press arm of,
Yeah.
of Press Pause Press.
Yeah. Now,
Oh, that's exciting.
did you
Mhm.
have like a little piece of it that you wanted to
Yeah, I
read?
would love to share. This is chapter 6. So a little over half. And I should say, UNC Press allowed us to use
Oh,
a collection of Rilke, because Rilke is a huge inspiration not only to Jesse but to Claire, the Claire character. And
Okay.
so every chapter starts with a beautiful Rilke, and I won't read that because I want
Uh,
Jesse's, but it's beautiful. So there's Nina Patricia Martinez's art every chapter, and then a Rilke selection from Rilke, and UNC Press allowed us to use their translation.
what a collaboration.
wow.
I mean, it was just there were so many times doing this that I was feeling like into the unknown. I don't know how to do this. And I had a wonderful intern, Victoria Lilly, that felt like the universe. She just reached out and said, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "Yes, we're publishing our first book." So she was wonderful and worked with us as well. And so it's just this, there were so many emotional moments doing this because it was really bringing a vision to life,
Yeah.
with the author, with the illustrator, with Victoria, as our team. And so we're very, very proud. I will just read a short piece um, from chapter 6. And chapter 6 is entitled Color in the Blood. She loves to paint.
Mm.
So it's sort of reconnecting with her artist self as well, which is sort of what we're talking about. Um, my life has been nothing extraordinary. I did not save the world. I did not disarm nuclear missiles. I did not find a way to clean the oceans or vaccinate children or strike legislation into corporations that destroy lives. I was a teacher who did not teach, and a painter who, on the side, sold watercolors of fishing boats and lighthouses. I could not protect those I love. There have
Mm.
been extraordinary moments. I ran up hills. I spent days alone. I made love. I fell in love. I failed in love. I lived in love. My life is not drab of this presence. I loved color, especially yellow, and the way the spring forsythia felt as though God had dropped a can of paint on the world. A yellow
Mm.
brick road straight into summer, the joy of the stroke, the wild, the rapture, the dizzy, the gleaming. We're back in Florence. We left the beach behind. It's still hot. Filippo is back to work, his erratic schedule leaving me quiet hours of contemplation. I sleep, I paint, I shower. I walk the city lost in thought, feeling myself moving closer to finitude. A new movement in my summer symphony. What will I leave behind?
Mm. Oh, I want this book. Now,
I was just going to say, and I'm sure we can go to the website and order this book,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
yes,
Oh
yes.
my goodness.
And maybe in
Oh,
your episode, I can send you some links to this
Yes.
book and press pause so people can see it.
Yeah, I've got your
yes.
links. You
Okay,
don't have to
cool.
send them. Um, I love that. And that reference to
Oh,
forsythia, I have a whole line of forsythia, and that's exactly how it feels when
mm,
that yellow comes out each
Yeah,
spring.
yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, I
that
love
was
that.
amazing. Um, that's fascinating to me. Okay, and there's so many things to say about this book because it is a collaboration and it is a a blending of expressions. I mean, with the illustrations, with the poetry, with the prose, with the fiction, with the
Yeah,
yeah, it's like it's really amazing.
everything. It's
Yes.
everything.
It's
All
everything
great
good.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um now I want to hear your poem.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
So I did this last night after I put my son to bed. So it's very fresh. It is in response to Luisa Gloria's prompt from her episode of Great Goodness. And her prompt was after she read that beautiful poem.
Hmm.
Um, everybody should go back to that as well. Her prompt, or your prompt after her poem, it was make the world that is better than you could even imagine.
Mm,
Which, these days it's hard to even imagine.
Hmm.
So I
Yes.
yeah.
thought a lot about that for, a few weeks. Like, can I imagine
Hmm.
anything right now? Uh,
Right.
feels pretty bleak. And then, I was also thinking about what you talked about in terms of Pluto in Aquarius in that episode, and you might be able to speak to this better, but what I got from it was that Pluto is sort of in a a transition, I guess, where it's taking and it's changing, and there's a lot of sort of give and take, and it's sort of about the human collective
Mm,
changing
Hmm.
together and becoming a new sort of organism.
Hmm.
Or that's how I interpreted what you were saying.
I think
Um,
that's beautiful and perfect.
yeah, I love that.
and I not to beleaguer the point, but I also was thinking about when I took a Jungian psychology class. Um, and I don't want to get political at all, but during Trump's first run, and there was a Jungian psychologist who was talking about how there's this big sea change that's happening right now, where we can't even feel it, but that we are in this big transition where like we're replacing something right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
It was very hopeful for me at the time and still is.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talked about Pluto sort of replacing what it's taking with something else and how it's very human driven as well,
Mm-hmm.
I just really was thinking about that and like how can we use that as a collective to make the world better than what we could
Mm-hmm.
imagine. So that's where I was starting with this poetry. Sorry for the
That
long
was
intro.
wonderful.
Oh
No.
no, that the backstory. It's
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
So I'm going to put the drawing. I like to do drawings along with
Mm-hmm.
my and I draw digitally on my iPad. So let's see, I did this before. Let's see if I can do it again. Okay.
Ah.
Okay, so in
Yes.
the hand is Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I will pull it up so I can see it.
Oh,
Sorry, just a second.
No,
I
it's
love that
fine.
so much.
The poem itself is written in the black. Um, and then there's a shadow of the person holding Pluto to represent the human collective sort of coming together, and Pluto bringing the sun is what I'm imagining when I was drawing it,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of bringing it over the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, this is untitled so far. We are all the breaths we take, the heaviest rains in our exhales. No one will believe what we saved in the future if it's no longer there. On piano keys and limes in rainbows. It is here, it is here, it is still here in the hole in the hand I'm holding. Turned, spun, reeled, underwater, magic, the changes. How in one orange breath we all rose, broken, together toward the sun.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. We all rose together, broken toward the sun.
mm,
I'll dream this dream with you.
yes.
I love it.
Oh, the music in those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Even from, yeah, there's a lot of musicality
yeah.
in this for sure.
Yeah, my primary is not poetry because I rhyme so much. I like fiction, but yeah, whenever I write poetry, I just can't
Oh,
stop.
it's the music is so it's just
You express yourself in a lot of ways. Um, the drawing and the writing in different genres. And I mean the creation of the press, the creation of the retreat. Like, are there other ways that you express yourself?
Um, I also write songs.
Uh-huh.
Have, a basic um, guitar skill. It's not, I just sort of know the melody and I always talk to my husband. He's a very outstanding piano player. Just not he's self-taught or his grandma taught him.
wow.
I'm always hearing the music that I'm writing in my head, but don't have the musical, like instrumental
Hmm.
skill to make it happen. So I just write the melodies, and sometimes he can pick them out. He's very good at like musical synthesis,
Mm.
where he can sort of hear something and gain
Yeah.
access to it in some way that is kind of astounding. So I do music, and I had the privilege of growing up in a family um where I was the middle child. I was kind of like the jester. I would say like the fool card a little bit. I have a twin sister. She's a doctor. She's also very creative. But I had like the ability to play a lot and was very supportive. So um expressing myself keeps me sane, basically. Keeps me, it's how I learn about the world. It's how I answer my own questions, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're making spaces for other people to do that
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, well, I just think it's so important, especially in hard times,
Hmm.
for everyone to have that space.
I also think it's important to note that you are tech savvy. I mean,
Yeah.
you're drawing on your iPad, like I have no idea how to do that, okay? But and Adobe Photoshop takes me, oh my God, yeah, that's a whole thing. And so your choices, they are real choices, to have like to not use social media, to not use branding. And
Hmm.
and your vocabulary, your access to language is very high. And so like if you wanted to do those things, you could. You are making a true conscious choice. Um and I say that just to clarify why I say that, because sometimes we make choices um because something really doesn't feel available to us. Like we don't like if I chose not to use social media, it would be really because I really don't know how to use it. I don't understand the whole thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm barely flubbing through it, but and that would be easy for me to say, well, I'm not using social media because of, da, da, da. But I think it's actually available to you to use. Like you have the ability to use it and use it well. You are really making a conscious choice to get to the honesty of creating.
Hmm.
And I just think that's exceptional. We really are out of time. I'd wanted to ask you about the retreat. Do you want to quickly speak about that?
Sure. Well, it's still in its planning stages. We have,
Okay.
I'll just speak very shortly. There's where we live on a 15-acre horse farm, and we are in the beginning stages of creating space to have workshops and retreats. We built a stage last year. So we'd like it to be a community space for our very heavily military town as well, for people who don't usually have that space
Hmm.
typically to create or in their regimented lives. And so yeah, we are in the planning stages, and we're hoping to have our first retreat sometime in like 2026, 2027. We have some building to do, but it's a beautiful, very inspiring place, and I'd love to share it with people and bring people on the farm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. Okay. So the stage, just real quick, are you thinking theater as well? Or are you thinking,
Yeah, I'm actually hoping to make connections with like youth theater groups. Focus
Mm.
on first the youth in the town, because there's not a whole lot in terms of artistic
Mhm,
experiences that the youth get, and I'm a teacher at heart, so I just want to offer to them first.
mhm.
So thinking concerts, a theater, open mics, comedy. I love comedy and
Yeah.
I'm not a comedian, but expressing people expressing themselves that way. So really anything you could do on a stage. We're
Okay.
yeah, my dad built it with his own two hands.
Oh, you do have support for your creativity.
So yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. Um, okay, so we should move into the prompt, which is always the moment where I'm like, uh-oh, did I think of anything? And and uh and usually I have. And with you there's a lot that you offer in terms of a prompt because of the authenticity that you invite. So um and so that's kind of the direction that I feel like we should go in for a prompt. And I know I've been doing a lot of life prompts and living creatively. And so I think I'm going to have to do two. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to do two. Um,
Bonus.
so so the first thing that comes to me, the guests we have, I just want to honor them and honor the lives that they are living because each one of them creates as much space for others as they ask for themselves, if not more. And I think if we all did that, that's a world I dream of, you
Mhm.
know? And so one of the things I heard you talk about a lot today or acknowledge um, several different ways is the privilege to create, the freedom and encouragement to express oneself, um, in creating opportunities for that. And so, what I would say if you're listening to this, the prompt for creative living I want to offer is where can you create that space? Like who can you lift up? Like who who can you gift a privilege to? You know, if and it doesn't cost any money, really. Like there are things that you can do, and if you have that type of resource, then that's the kind of gift you may give, right? But there's also if you're a writer, you can hold a class in your community for that doesn't charge. You can just read someone else's poetry. You can listen really well. And when someone is communicating, expressing themselves, you can follow that path with them. It can be just that simple.
Mhm.
Just someone sends you a picture of something that they sewed, and you're like, that's beautiful. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? Do you see all the ranges in which you can do
Mhm.
that? It can be like your husband teaching someone to play piano. I'm guessing he's an accomplished pianist and but he can share that with someone and lift them up. And that is my first thing. And I think when you do that, you are creating. You
Mhm.
are creating a space. You are creating as well. And so your ability to create is being fed. That that part of you is being nurtured through that. So that's my first prompt. I love creative living prompts. I think if
Yeah.
you live creatively, then you create. You just create. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my other one. Okay. This is mostly like here's what okay, so this is what you did. You had a poem and you had an image. Okay. And I do this a lot because I honestly like I was a poet first, but it just wasn't getting everything. Like I just couldn't fully express myself in it. And so I started making images. And sometimes one comes first than the other. And anyway, so I was thinking, pull out if you're a poet. oh, I love that there's images in the book too that is
Yeah.
really fiction, prose. It's really prose. Um, but there's illustrations, right? So what I'm thinking about is accompaniment. I'm thinking about a
Mhm.
parallelism. I'm thinking about two different genres working together. So whatever genre you typically work in, or if there's many, just pick one, and then respond to it in another genre. Does-
Mm.
So if you're a pianist, you could draw an image of a song, you know? Even dancing would be responding in a different genre. If you're typically an artist, or a sculptor, write a poem in response to your own, or and not it doesn't even have to be in response. It can just be parallel. So they're saying the same thing, but
Mhm.
in different languages. Yeah, in different languages. So
I'm
yes.
sorry, I'm oversharing.
No,
So
no, share, share.
this okay, this is a thing I love to do. So old ratty people that have torn their books up and they donate them to the thrift store. I get the books. This is a dictionary page. I glued it to a card. I sketched some birds on it, just looking at some pictures of some birds, colored it in, made me super happy. And then it's a postcard. I will probably mail it to somebody. And I've written a poem in response to it. So it's just like you can do something weird.
I love it. It's
Just
beautiful.
just whatever. Like,
Yes.
so, I mean, yeah. And sometimes, and so I just want to say, sometimes if you're like, I'm going to create something, it's like sometimes the starting part, it's like, I'm going to start with this and make it into something is like, that just kind of makes me want to go drink some tea instead. But you could start with a page that already has things on it.
Mhm.
Or, rip a page out of a magazine or, whatever. Take a piece of your junk mail and doodle on it, like doodle around the stamp or whatever, write about the stamp. Anyway, okay. That's
I
me
love it.
interjecting some
I love
weird.
it.
Yeah. That was great. Thank you, Karen, for giving a concrete example of that
That was
too. I
my
really
my blurt. That was my
No, it's a
blurt. My
great
blurt of the
blur.
morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we have to stop. I
I know,
really
right?
I enjoyed this so much. Thank you. Thank you for being with
What
us.
you're doing is wonderful.
Oh,
What you're
thank
doing is
you.
wonderful.
What you're doing is
I
wonderful.
know, right?
It's
Yeah.
all great goodness.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank y'all
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Bye.